Hello and welcome back to Through the Trapdoor. I'm Emily.
And I'm Katie.
And this is our podcast where we read you Harry Potter fan fiction.
With probably some baby noises.
Probably, most likely. She's sitting on Katie's lap today.
Yeah, she loves me today. She did not cry when I picked her up.
No.
Or when she first laid eyes upon me today. So I'm in a joyful mood.
The wonderful author of this beautiful story emailed us pictures of her kitty.
Oh, we should have asked her if we could put them on the internet.
Yeah, we didn't.
But they're real cute.
It's a super cute kitty.
So because I get to hold the baby, Emily's going to read, even though it's technically my turn, but Emily's going to read so I can hold the baby.
That's all right. All right, we're going to wrap up Chapter 14, The Alley in the Cottage.
Woo!
Even as, in the back of the library, Lily and James's relationship was progressing, in the front of the library, Melody and Sirius's relationship appeared to be falling spectacularly to pieces. Melody had received an owl, an international owl no less.
Ooh.
That had sparked the worst fight with Sirius she could ever recall having. Melody hadn't actually been there when the owl had come. She'd been fetching a book from somewhere else in the library, and Sirius, who had stayed up front by the large, boring stack of books, had encountered the owl. The owl, extremely tired, had given a feeble hoot and allowed Sirius to untie the letter from its leg before flying off in search of food and water. Sirius, who was accustomed to owls delivering to their exact customers, did not quite see or perhaps quite register the fact that the letter was addressed to Melody, and so received a bit of a nasty shock when he opened it.
Alright, so I was gonna harass Sirius for opening Melody's letter, but now I understand.
I mean...
Fair enough. Owls typically only deliver directly to who they're supposed to deliver to, unless they have multiple letters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, the owls that bring the
Letters
letters to the burrow. I had, guck stuck in my throat there for a second, and I couldn't get my words to work.
Melody, it is so sad to me that you are no longer here. There are so many places now that remind me of you. We did not know each other for long, but I miss you and think of you. I did not even know you were gone until I met a girl named Eve who told me of the trouble your uncle and of your friend in England who lost her family. I am sorry that you had to leave so soon, and more sorry that I could not help or say goodbye. I hope that your family is all very well and that your friend is all right. What a terrible thing, losing so many people you care about. I will be sad to lose you, Melody. You are so wonderful, and I hope that you will owl me from England. Yes? My mama, she sends her greetings and hopes you are well. Isabella hopes you still have a drawing of us. Gianni said he enjoyed dancing. Anthony, he says it is bad that you went, but good that I am home more. I have not been dancing so much since you left, but that is all right. I have more work now, and I like the time to see my family. I know you understand. Do not give up hope, Melody. Terrible things may happen now, but remember there are still good things. We must remember the good things as we fight against the bad. I hope one day, soon, I may come to England and help save some of what is good. Do not be afraid to love, Melody. Remember, we have to live for something other than revenge, and love is worth living. You have such spirit, do not waste it. Love, Paulo.
That was actually a very sweet letter.
Sirius read the letter and blinked. Then he read it again. He was halfway through reading it a third time when Melody came back with a rather large stack of books. Lily and James are still at it, she informed him, rolling her eyes. What's that? She asked, indicating to the letter. Sirius made a rather garbled noise and shoved it in Melody's direction. Melody took it, frowning, and her eyes widened as she read through it. She looked at Sirius. Did you read this? Another garbled noise, and Sirius nodded. Sirius, why did you read my mail? Sirius found words. The owl came and it landed right in front of me, so I untied the thingy and the owl flew away. Then I read it and I thought it was for me, and then I realized it wasn't, and you might have stopped reading it after you got to the first melody. Melody snapped.
Fair enough.
Suddenly, Sirius was furious. Well, you might have told me that there was a boy in America named Paulo. What for? Melody demanded, although she knew perfectly well what for. but at the moment was so completely angry that he'd read her private mail that she thought she'd wind him up a bit. It turned out at this point Sirius didn't need much winding up. "Because I might bloody care if you had a boyfriend, that's why," Sirius shouted. Entirely the wrong time and entirely the wrong situation to be saying any of this to Melody. But he didn't care anymore. This had been going on too long enough. All this tension and longing and random kissing that never led anywhere. And it all needed to be got over with right now. "Well then, I guess I had nothing to tell you because I never had a boyfriend," Melody informed him, shouting right back. Sirius stopped for a moment and considered, well, you at least might have told me there was someone else." Whoever said he was someone else? And for that matter, whoever said that there was someone? "Don't you have someone to have someone else?" Melody demanded furiously. "Damn it, Melody, I am someone," Sirius shouted. And Melody froze for a moment, staring. "What are you saying?" she asked slowly, afraid of the answer. If he was going to tell her now, after all the years of avoiding the subject, after she'd found Paulo, after she'd started to get over him, after her uncle had blackmailed her into marrying someone wealthy, if he was going to tell her now that he loved her, or even liked her, or cared about her at all, well, then she had a sudden idea that she might just tell him to go shove a broomstick up his ass.
Oh.
Because she was beginning to feel that it was a little late for all of these to be coming out. And well, even if she was still crazy about him.
Okay, so baby needed to be fed. Here I am. Here's my voice.
You get Katie now instead.
Because she was beginning to feel it was a little late for all of this to be coming out. And well, even if she was crazy about him, even if she was a little too much in love with him for her own good, well, what did it matter now anyways? She still had to marry a wealthy old bastard, and there was no point, none at all, in starting any kind of relationship with Sirius, even if she had feelings for him. No, especially if she had feelings for him, because they were both going to end up getting hurt in the end, and she couldn't stand the thought.
Except his family is wealthy and he's the heir.
Correct.
To his family fortune.
So I'm pretty sure your uncle would be fine.
Yeah.
And Mama Black would not give him any money.
Nope.
She didn't want to hurt Sirius any more than she already had. "I'm saying I'm crazy about you, damn it," Sirius said, and his words exploded in Melody's ears. And I know I'm an idiot, and I should have told you ages ago. I shouldn't have let this crap, all this, I didn't even know what was getting in my way. But I'm telling you now, if I'm too late for this, Paulo bloke is really your boyfriend, then God, Melody, please don't tell me I'm too late. Please don't tell me that, Sirius said, and then broke off, staring at Melody, looking horribly afraid and horribly sincere. Melody, will you goddamn just tell him the truth?
Yeah, if you just tell him what's happening, he would be fine with it.
Right. He will marry you, and he is rich. It took Melody's brain a second to mull through all of this. Then she knew. She knew she could never tell him. She could tell from the way he was looking at her, the way he was pleading with her, that he really thought it wasn't too late. That no matter what had happened, him coming clean would sort everything out, and they'd both skip off in a fairy tale land together and live happily ever after. But there wasn't a fairy tale land, was there? Melody didn't have happily ever after. She had family, and she had to protect them, even if that meant throwing all of her own feelings to shit. Actually, tell the Potters, because guess what? The Potters will take your whole damn family into a section of that magic house.
Yeah.
And it won't goddamn matter.
Also that.
Your uncle can take all their fucking worth because they'll already be fine and gone and disappeared, and he won't even know where they went.
I know, it's not like they don't have enough house.
Right. So that was why she looked Sirius square in the eye and said, "I'm sorry, Sirius, but it's too late." Sirius froze for a moment, looking very numb. Is it that Paulo bloke? No, Sirius, it's just too late. Melody, please. Did you ever? Sirius broke off and looked hard at the floor. Just tell me if you ever cared about me. Because if you've just been leading me on, did I ever care about you? My God, Sirius. How could I have not cared about you? Sirius looked up at her suddenly and glared at her fiercely. Well then, what is it then? What changed? God, Sirius, I don't even know where to, come on, Melody, what is it? Paulo? What is Paulo? What is your uncle? Was it just too long for you to stand? What changed? I changed, Sirius, Melody yelled fiercely. People change. They're allowed to do that. Sirius looked at her long and hard, and Melody thought her face might crack, and she dropped her gaze from his. So you're telling me, Sirius said evenly, that whatever feelings you ever had for me are completely over with? And if I decided to get on with my life and ask another girl out tomorrow, you wouldn't give a damn? Melody's throat clenched. Would she care? Would she? Who was she kidding? Of course she cared. She cared more than she'd ever be able to let on. But what could she do? She couldn't ever have a relationship with Sirius, so why deprive him of a relationship with someone else? If he was ready to get over her, then, well, damn it, he could go on and get over her. It was this train of thought that led Melody to raise her eyes again and lock eyes with Sirius. Yes, Sirius, that is exactly what I'm telling you. How Melody managed to say that with a straight face and without any emotion at all, she would never know. Nor would she ever comprehend how she stood there watching Sirius work this all out in agony for a minute without flinching at all. Fine, Sirius said finally, evenly, although it was apparent that underneath the thin surface, everything with Sirius was absolutely not fine. And Melody almost broke down again, but luckily, Sirius turned away from her and stalked out of the library, furious, hurt, and rejected. Melody waited until she thought he was a good distance away, and she couldn't stand it anymore. And then her knees gave out from below her, and she collapsed on the floor, sobbing. I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
James and Lily, upon hearing furious shouts coming from the front of the library, had hurried through the aisles to see what was the matter, and then stopped and retreated when they'd seen the way Melody and Sirius were standing shouting at each other. They cowered between the bookshelves, listening to absolutely everything, and waited until Sirius stalked out of the library to poke their heads around the corner. Lily's head popped out from behind the bookshelf in time to see Melody collapsed in a sobbing heap. This was the second time this week Lily had seen her best friend dissolve into sobs. And while the first time she wasn't exactly sure what had provoked the tears, except trauma, and she supposed right now there was no doubt in her mind as to why Melody was sobbing on the floor like a wretch, Melody was a dirty, awful, rotten, nasty liar. And that's why. There was absolutely no doubt in Lily's mind that Melody did care about Sirius Black. Melody was not easy to persuade, but eventually she was sitting in an upright position, hiccoughing, and Lily was glaring at her quite fiercely. Oh, don't do that, Lily. Sirius already hates me. I don't need you to hate me too. Lily's face softened. Melody, I don't hate you. Only, you liar! Why did you tell Sirius you didn't care about him anymore? But Melody shook her head. Don't, Lily, please don't ask me that. Lily just looked at her helplessly. I don't understand you, Melody. I really don't. There he was, confessing his feelings for you, which, might I add, you've been waiting for God knows how long, and... Stop it, Lily, Melody shrieked. Just stop. I can't explain it, okay? I don't know why I did that. I just couldn't tell him. It wasn't right. I'm not right. What do you mean you're not right? Just what I said. I'm not right for him. I'd screw him up. I'm not good enough for him. Melody, listen to yourself. This is the biggest crock of shit I have ever heard. Oh, this from the girl who's afraid to admit she's in love. I am not, Lily insisted furiously. I think we are far too young to really understand what love is. Melody snorted. Too young my ass. You don't have to understand love to have love, to be in love. Nobody understands love, least of all those of us who are in love. She froze for a moment and then said hastily, "Not that I am in love." "Right, Melody," Lily said softly, angrily. "Of course you're not. Of course you're not sitting here crying because you just lied to Sirius about everything." "Look, Lily, it's complicated, okay?" Melody cried. "Complicated how?" Melody cut off and looked around, alarmed. "Lily? What?" Lily snapped. "Where's James?" James had heard all he needed to hear. Melody was a psychotic liar, but at least Sirius didn't have to go throw himself off the side of a bridge before he found that out. Why Melody had decided to lie to Sirius, James didn't know. He didn't expect he'd ever know, but he did expect he'd do something to fix it. Not that he wanted Melody to throw things at him after she found out he'd decided to screw up her let's play with Sirius mind game, but still, bringing his best friend some sanity and possibly getting things thrown at him was better than Melody carry on like a mad woman. Sirius wasn't hard to find. James just had to follow the loud motorbike noises kind Sirius liked to make before he took off. James, on a stroke of luck, found Sirius before he took off and managed to stop him at the window of James's bedroom. "Sirius, listen to me," James yelled, standing in front of Sirius's motorbike. "Not right now, Prongs," Sirius yelled. "It's about Melody," James insisted. But this, apparently, had not been the right thing to say, as it just caused Sirius to rev his motorbike a bit more in an attempt to run James down. "She lied to you, Padfoot," James tried again, desperate, and Sirius stopped trying to run him over, but appeared no less angry. "Well, it doesn't really matter if she's lying or not, now does it?" James blinked at him, very confused. "How could it not matter? Padfoot, listen to yourself." "I know what I'm talking about, James. Who cared if she lied or not? She still said no, didn't she?" James considered this. "Well, yeah, Padfoot, but I think you could still get her, you know?" "I don't think so. It's not how things work."
To be fair, he's put up with Lily.
Oh, yeah, so
So,
he doesn't really realize. Sirius shook his head furiously. Just let her be alone," he spat. "I don't care anymore." "Yes, that is so apparent from the way you were trying to fly out of my bedroom window," James said. James had him at that one, and Sirius, after a brief internal struggle, turned off his motorbike and ripped the keys out of the bike a bit more violently than necessary, before throwing them against the wall, and he flopped onto James's bed and glared at his best friend before waiting for James to speak. I do have to say, that's the one thing I miss about having a key to my car, now that I have, like, to push to start. I can't, like, violently rip my keys out of the ignition if I'm angry. It's, like, no longer being able to, like, slam the phone shut when you want to hang up on someone.
yep.
It's just one of those things that, like, you don't realize you're gonna miss until you can't do it anymore. He flopped onto James's bed and glared at his best friend, waiting for James to speak. "She still likes you, Padfoot," James informed him. "Great, wonderful. Who cares?" Sirius snapped. But James could see that he was not entirely unaffected by the statement. "Look," James said, "I figured with Melody, all you have to do is play your cards right." "I don't care," Sirius insisted. "She hates me, and I don't care." "Oh, quit feeling sorry for yourself. Look, Sirius, all I'm saying is it won't hurt to make her a little jealous. That's all. I mean, look at what it's done for me and Lily." Sirius snorted. "Who was Lily ever jealous of?" Sirius considered. Well, Sirius rolled his eyes. "Yes, James, I can see how much jealousy has improved your relationship. There was that one letter, remember? From that girl we met at the water park? You know, before Lily invaded Potter's Cottage and all, last summer, and she found it the day we went to King's Cross in my stuff and got flung all over the place, remember?" Sirius shrugged. "One letter? Big bloody deal. You already had her by that time, Prongs? I don't know what you're going on about. Look, I know I'm supposed to be the big relationship expert and everything, but just trust me, a little bit of jealousy might go a long way." Sirius looked up at him. "What the hell do you want me to do then? Ask out another girl? Ask out the first girl I see at King's Cross Station?" "Well, if you think she'd say yes." Sirius's eyebrows shot up. "You know, I tried dating one other girl to make another one jealous. Remember in 4th year? Sirius, what didn't you do in 4th year?
Good point.
Well, Sirius said, considering, I never climbed into bed with anyone. 'Cause you were 14!
Yeah, but Sirius is crazy.
14! Briefly, the thought of climbing into bed with Lily flashed through James's mind, and then he quickly shoved the thought aside. After all, they weren't really dating, and Lily had never shown interest in doing, well, anything like that. And she just lost her family, so now really wasn't the time to be thinking about that. James decided that he'd better change the subject. Good point, James.
Yeah.
I think it might be worth it, Padfoot, he said, reverting the whole make Melody jealous idea. Sirius considered for a moment and then sighed, rubbing his face with his hands. Well, he said, his voice slightly muffled through his fingers, it couldn't hurt to try. Mimi Ramirez had not expected to spend her entire trip to Hogwarts sitting next to Sirius Black, nor had she expected she would not run into Remus at all during the trip, or Melody for that matter. The train ride passed in a blur of talking and laughter, with random friends popping by the compartment, and Lily and James occasionally leaving to talk to other people. Or maybe they were leaving to go talk somewhere in private. Who knew?
Talk.
With
their tongues in each other's mouths.
Yep. When the Smiling Witch came around with her cart, they bought pumpkin pasties and every flavor beans, fizzing Whizbees, chocolate frogs, and ate until their taste for candy ran out. By the time they'd neared Hogwarts, it was raining, and all the food had run out, and they were all terribly hungry again. Yeah, 'cause you're a bunch of 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
Sirius had gotten to feeling restless and impulsive, and began suggesting imaginative ways of escaping the train and terrorizing the nearest town for food. It was probably because of his impulsive feeling that Sirius did what he did when the train arrived in Hogsmeade. As the first years flooded off the train and were shuttled over to the lake to take their rides on the boats, as all of the younger students of Hogwarts found space in the carriages, Sirius pulled Mimi aside and asked her if she'd like to be his girlfriend. Whew!
All right.
Not even on a day. I mean, they're in school, so I guess, yeah. Fair enough. Mimi, rather dumbfounded, didn't know what to say in that moment. She liked Sirius all right, she supposed, and she certainly wasn't getting anywhere with Remus, and she had been wishing for a boyfriend, hadn't she? Sirius certainly wasn't hard in the eyes after all, and he was fun to talk to, and well, even if she didn't like him too much that way, she once had a sparked crush on him, hadn't she? Maybe she'd grow to fancy him a bit more over time, or maybe it might make Remus a bit jealous. With these thoughts in her mind, Mimi found herself saying yes. Grinning, Sirius landed a swift kiss on her and grabbed her by the hand and led her over to the carriages, which was half occupied by Lily and James, both of them looking quite a bit surprised to see Sirius and Mimi holding hands, and then looked a bit more surprised when Sirius informed them that Mimi was now his girlfriend. Well, Mimi supposed they had the right to be a little surprised. After all, she hadn't seen Sirius much over the summer, hadn't really formed much of a romantic relationship, but, well, they were friends and everything, so it wasn't that odd. Maybe a little sudden, but not exactly weird or anything. A thought occurred to Mimi as they rode up to the Hogwarts front doors, and a smile twitched on her lips. I said I wanted a serious relationship this year, not a relationship with Sirius. And that's the end of the chapter.
Yay!
Woo! Yeah, I don't know who's going to read to you next week.
Yeah, who knows?
It'll be a surprise.
Might be a mix of both of us again.
Probably that.
We do what we can. We're sorry. It's hard. We're adjusting.
We're making it work.
Yeah. Does anybody want a dog? I'm giving away Duke for free. He barks at the mailman every day.
But we do love him.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's all we got for you.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us on our journey through the trapdoor.
You can leave us a review on Facebook or Apple Podcasts. It would literally mean the world to us.
Or you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at thetrapdoor16.
Or if you have any longer thoughts, you can shoot us an email at throughthetrapdoor16@gmail.com.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you again next week.
See you next week.